This is March 27, Climate Chaos. Disregard reigns upon us. Cold, warm, light, dark, silver, gray. Watch and pray as intruding night falls. In mainline public reports, the spotlight is fully directed toward the negative consequences of weather whiplash, often excluding positive effects. While this is predictable given the overall worsening climate situation, it is useful to give voice to up and downside effects of our erratic 21st climate. The polar vortex dip of early 2018 disrupted traffic, damaged infrastructure, forced school closures, and caused injuries and death. Distilled mayhem. Temperature swings forecasted in Chicago within a 4-day period fluctuated from about minus 21 to positive 52 degrees, a 72-degree difference. The deaths of at least 29 people were linked to the weather system, and 50 patients sought treatment for frostbite, about half of them homeless. Because frozen ground resists absorbing water, rain shortly after the polar vortex dip caused massive flooding. And a 20-mile ice jam in the Muskegon River flooded house yards and closed a bridge. The extreme cold from the north is only seen about every 5 to 10 years. But according to a 2016 paper by Judah Cohen, a climatologist and director of seasonal forecasting, temperature variability has increased in the northern hemisphere. Uneven shifts toward earlier spring and later fall seasons are disrupting plant growth and threatening agricultural yields. Fall-spring, a situation where plants emerge too early from winter dormancy, then freeze by late-season cold snaps, is also happening more frequently. In Michigan, for example, unseasonably warm temperatures brought the state's apple orchards into bloom several weeks too early, exposing them to a spate of deep freeze events late in the season. Fruit growers lost millions of bushels of apples, amounting to about $500 million in damages. However, climate perturbations sometimes bring short-term upsides. Extreme winter cold is known to reduce populations of invasive tree killers. A survey following a polar vortex dip in 2014, where temperatures dropped to negative 23 degrees in Minneapolis and St. Paul, documented that 60 to 70% of emerald ash borer larvae perished. The cold blast of early 2018 is suspected to substantially reduce numbers of this invader. 34% of ash borers succumb at negative 10 degrees Fahrenheit, but at negative 30 degrees, the figure soars to 98%. The emerald ash borer has already wiped out 100% of ash trees in parts of Ohio and Indiana, says Robert Vinite of the U.S. Forest Service. It is important to know, however, that survivors bounce back quickly, and future populations will be less vulnerable to extreme winter weather events. Sudden shifts from dry to wet are beneficial because they give a window of opportunity for native and non-invasive species to reestablish. Marine studies in the San Francisco Bay show that deluges of fresh water drive out invasive species. During dry years, when bay waters remained salty, one invader dominated above all others, the invasive tunicate Kiona robusta. But when the wetter winters of 2006 and 2011 hit, Kiona and other solitary tunicates like it were unable to cope with the massive influxes of fresh water. In their place, mat-like colonial tunicates and encrusting bryozoans took over. This balances the ecosystem and promotes biodiversity. Conventional literature consistently pins climate change as the overarching cause of volatile weather patterns. Specific factors scientists link to weather whiplash are a weaker, quote, more wavy jet stream and the warming Arctic, where temperatures are increasing about twice the global average. Yet Judah Cohen points out that modeling studies generally predict that temperature variability, or the extent to which temperatures tend to fluctuate up and down, should actually decline worldwide in a warming world. Pinpointing the initial source of climate and temperature volatility is a messy business. Anomalies pervade.